I came to Taiwan in 1999 as an intern, working in lighting already. I think Taiwan has this secret sauce of turning things around much faster than where you can possibly do it in any other place in the world, because you have a huge cluster of manufacturing. I think it's second to none.
So I want to get more into who you are, because from my perspective, what you're doing is very complex, very stressful work where you have to be very careful about every single step. Why are you doing this, Florian?
You know why I'm so crazy to come here? Well, I came to Taiwan in 1999 as an intern, working in lighting already. And I found that this island, this Taiwan, the Silicon Island of Taiwan, is very unique because you have a huge cluster of manufacturing, especially in the electronic area. And I think it's second to none when it comes to the proximity of different technologies. Basically, here in Taipei, we can visit our customers by subway. And we can get people on one table. We can solve those hands-on problems very easily. Whereas if you're in the West, you're a couple hours drive away from the next manufacturer, you're relying on documentation which may be outdated. I think Taiwan has this secret sauce of turning things around much faster than where you can possibly do it in any other place in the world. And then we don't have a language barrier to China since we all speak Mandarin here. So transferring a design into a mass producible product in China and now also in Southeast Asia, because most of the manufacturing driven businesses are owned or run by the Chinese community. Taiwan is unique, and I believe that this place is ideal to solve those problems here. And as an engineer, you're always like, you're never happy with what you have on the table. You always try to take it a little step further.
Yeah.
So I made my passion become my business. And with our team, we're having new challenges every day.
How long have you been in business now in Taiwan?
Celinius was founded in 2000. So now we have 2024. So it's 24 years.
24 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you have a lot of crazy stories over the past 24 years.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about these guys that you work with, these entrepreneurs. I want to get into their mindset. What are they normally trying to accomplish, and what are the typical challenges that they encountered that before they talk to you?
Okay, so most of our clients are also not the average Joe. Most of our clients are passionate people that have the mission to make the world in some little place better than what it is. These are most of our clients. And usually they are facing the challenge that they're often able to build a prototype, which is beautiful, which can show that they can solve the problem better. And then suddenly they face, oh my God, I can make 1, I can make 5, I can make 10, but I can't make 500. I don't have the resources for it. And then, of course, when you start entering a market, once you get a certain level of traction, you also attract competitors in it. So suddenly you are in a position where, yeah, you may have a good design or a good idea, but you have to get it out there, and you have to get it out there at a reasonable cost. And since a lot of manufacturing has moved to Asia over the past 30 years, a lot of industries in their native countries have literally died. And also the components that you need for certain products are not readily available in those markets. So even you want to do it locally, you're facing the challenge that it's not easily doable. Or the people say, yeah, but if I produce in my market, I'm much faster between manufacturing and to my market. That's correct. But if the components you need do not exist in your country anymore, you have the lead time on your components, your time advantage is also disappeared. Whereas if you produce straight away in Asia, We can offer you some products by air freight early. You can still hit your market early. And then we ship the rest of the product by sea freight afterwards, and you have a consistent supply. So often what you think is, I do it near my home, we call it around my church, like you do it quick here, but actually it's not really beneficial.
Okay. And then we also discussed this idea that to find a supplier is one issue, but then to work with them reliably over the long term is a completely different issue.
Absolutely.
How do you solve that problem?
Okay, then that's a little bit what you learn when you live in Asia for a long time. Most of the Asian businesses, or if not almost all Asian businesses, are basically family businesses. So you need to understand the fabric of the family of the supplier, because the interest in doing business with you has to align with the owner's family. Of course, they have to make money, but they are not like, oh, my quarterly results are like this. Today, I don't like to take that order. This is when you deal with the big companies. But with the average medium-sized company, and Taiwan is full of medium-sized companies, the key element is to make sure that doing business with you is beneficial for the business themselves as well as the family. And that's why, since we are targeting niche market applications, we are facing the challenge that nobody will build a factory for our product.
Right, because if you are, let's say, Apple,
then you have leverage. Everybody will build factories for you.
The entire factory is built for you, and your supplier is reliable.
Correct. But when you're a niche market applicant, that's not the case. So meaning you need to find the suppliers that have a facility that is suitable, and B, there is spare capacity that fits into their business plan to offer to you. And then you need to engage with the suppliers and make sure that there is a personal connection between usually the owner's family or the owner itself and you or the customer, or that they feel there's a mission for them to continue this. Then you will get the necessary priority.
So are you the one building these personal connections?
I have to say, my team, and my team involves me, but also we also invite the customers to come over from time to time to build this. In Taiwan or in the Chinese environment, you're never going to have a good business before you had a good meal with them.
Yeah. So can you share a little bit about how that works? So you get together for dinner, a lot of booze, karaoke.
Karaoke you can do, but that's more with the younger ones. Definitely a dinner on a round table with sometimes up to 12 dishes. So in China you have to do the Mao Tai. In Taiwan you have the gaoliang and a beer, but
wow.
Or whiskey. I'm not such a big fan of the whiskey though, but that's it. And if you want to take it to the next action, I'm not such a good one, but I know from my other affiliates, you may want to play golf with them if you go into the better business.
Yeah. So this is really interesting because this is what this is sort of like the unwritten rules of manufacturing. And it sounds like a lot of engineers or even entrepreneurs, they think, okay, I got the supplier here, I got the product, I got the prototype, yeah, let's go. But then they're missing this component of relationship building, which is so important here in Asia.
Super important, yeah.
Yeah.
Super important. I mean, I've been working with suppliers for, let's say, since the very early days. We have products we launched in 2001, and we're still producing today. And we can count on the people that are involved. And they have their network, so so in Chinese the word guanxi, it's very important. So when you're not just leveraging your own relationship, every company has got their network of relationship behind it.
Right.
And you want to make sure that to the majority it works out for everybody involved, then it will work. And this is very difficult to detect when you're 10,000 kilometers away.
Mm-hmm. And I think for people in the West, this could be something very strange to understand because I think the way we work in the West is we just want everything, all the math to add up, and then we go. Could you share a little bit more about why it is so different out here? And why are these relationships so important? What if we just sign the checks? Isn't that enough?
No.
Oh, so why not?
Well, because we call it in the West, we have a work-life balance, right?
Yeah.
So we have our work, we have our life. In Asia, most manufacturers live in their work.
Wow. Okay.
You will have literally people standing at the machine at 70 plus years.
And they've been doing that like their whole life?
Yes. You will see those garage shops. They have their dining table and the TV, and behind they have the injection machine.
Wow. My God.
So it's a very common situation for the Asian entrepreneur to live in their business. And then the other one is, once they have a demand, they will involve all their family members or whoever needs some job or whatever to get in to help. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they will be challenged by their families again. This is very, very Asian, very different from the West, where we say, I go to work, I can spend my 8 hours, I get my salary check, and everything's workable. But this is different here. But the other side, that's also why your lead times are shorter here, because they can leverage resources which we're impossible to get in the West.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the whole network works together coming out of the woodwork to solve the problem.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's, I would say, it's extremely powerful.
Yeah, amazing. Okay.
One thing I want to mention.
Yeah.
I have kids, and my kids went to Taiwanese elementary school here. The education system is also different from the West.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say there's a lot of dedication, especially Taiwan has been a Japanese colony for 50 years and then emerged under Chiang Kai-shek, but there is the requirement to work hard in school. So if you go to a Chinese school, you will be made to write thousands of characters many, many times. And you have to work very, very hard. And you'll be checked by your teacher, you'll be checked by your parents, you'll be checked by this. So there's a working culture here to work hard to give a good impression to your parents.
Right.
That's embedded in the system here.
Yeah.
And that's very beneficial for leveraging resources to make manufacturing work.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in the West, we may have advantages in other areas when it comes to finding solutions for unknown problems.
Right. So the Western way of entrepreneurship and the Asian way of entrepreneurship seem to complement each other very well.
I do believe so.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely convinced that this is the case. Yes.
But it just takes that person in the middle to kind of massage that whole project over the long term.
I think we have a important position to make because, again, you need to align the interests. Of course, if your interests aligned very, very carefully, you may be able to do it directly. However, the interest of the manufacturer may not necessarily directly correspond with your interests.
Right.
And to get the incentives right is very critical, and that could be quite challenging.
Yeah. Okay, so one last question. Could you share the long-term vision of Celinius? You've shared about your background as an engineer, your team out here, how you help entrepreneurs. What do you think is coming in the future for Celinius?
Okay, so since I come from Germany, we have a habit of building houses that last for at least 100 years. And this is the way I set up Celinius. We want to provide long-term, consistent solutions for our customers. So we are very interested in consistently serving those markets. And I hope that Celinius will still exist when I am already under the ground. That is the vision. So we are building it for long term. And we were acquired 12 years ago, partially acquired, by a company called Melchers. Melchers is a trading company from Bremen who also operates in East Asia with 17 offices. And they were founded in 1806.
Been around for a while.
Yeah, I've been around a while. They had their first Hong Kong's company in 1866 with a foreign business registration number 3.
Wow.
And they invest in the long term. So that's why we believe we have a good financial backing behind it. And they have to reinvent themselves over and over again. And that's a very European way of looking at it. So when you look at typical European companies, they usually have the surname of the founder in their name, like Mercedes and Benz and Mr. Siemens. And so same as with Melchers. And we usually don't look at the next quarter only or the next year or go to the IPO or trying to solve. No. We are planning to build a business that can last. And that is the vision. So, and when it comes to technical point of view, we see a huge opportunity in taking the advantage of the LED technology, turning them into sustainable lighting products. This is our mission. We want to make products that you can reorder 10, 12 years, at least a compatible product from the product you bought before, because our human eye hasn't changed for thousands of years.
Yeah, we can still detect the slight differences.
Yes, and we are still used to in the morning to have more bluer light to wake us up, and we would like to have the sunset, which is more reddish in the night. This has never changed. So when it comes to the desires that we have for our ambient environment, there has been lighting has been out there for 150 years, electrical lighting. And I think it will still continue for many hundreds of years. And if we can deliver a certain share of this in that industry, we'll provide something. That's our vision. And if you are interested in understanding more, or maybe there is something that you think we can help you, then you may reach out to us, and you will find the contact details below.
Yep. So contact details will be below for anyone looking to ask questions. Get in touch. And thanks. This is really interesting conversation. I learned a lot.
Thank you, Michael.
Very strange stuff that I'd love to go deep into on the next one.
Thank you.